we're going to do a notebook cover, a composition cover. You're going to need 2 fat quarters, and you can use some fusible fleece. I'm having a hard time because I don't have the fusible fleece. So let's get into this project. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the fat quarters into pieces. Now you need 2 fat quarters, but you're going to have a little bit left. 2 pieces, 16 by 1/8 and 10 3/4 inches. That's the size that you're going to need. You're going to need that twice. So you're going to need 2 that size. And we're going to start with this, and I'm going to cut it into 16th and 1/8 by 10 3/4. I'm going to open these up. I use this same material to make an iron-on cover for a composition book, and I thought it was really cute. So we're going to use this again, this time for the removable cover. I'm really excited. This is the first time me making it. I know what the dimensions are, and I just wanted to bring you with me as I made it. If I screw up, don't be too hard on me. But 16th and 1/8, 16 and 1/8 by 10 3/4. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to iron these out. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go over to the one thing we're not too terribly worried about is perfection. You know, it's so hard to get things perfect, especially when you're not, new at doing this stuff. So we are going to go with what did I tell you? 16 and 1/8. So that's up here, and I mean it's quite possible that we will not get this completely correct. So we're just going to do the best we can do. Got to make sure this is even down here. Oh, sometimes these fat quarters are less than perfect. Not gonna lie. So sometimes we have to. The funny thing about sewing is it's a lot like carpentry. If something's off, it's going to throw off the whole project. And not always been the best at measuring things. Yeah, making things perfectly square or correct. But I just took that little bit off to make that side more even. Okay, so we're going to do 16 and 1/8. Okay, that's much better. Okay. So we got 1, 2. Perfect. Okay, well, now we're going to cut this. Oop, gotta be careful that we don't move stuff. Okay, so now we have 16th and 1/8, 16 and 1/8, and then it's going to be by 10 3/4. So, all right. So, cutting that by 10 3/4. So, well, about right there would be my guess. Okay. Okay, so now we have 16 and 1/8 by 10 3/4. Okay, so what am I doing? Sometimes I have to double check, make sure that I got this right. All right, so make sure. Fiddlesticks. So here we have 16 and a little bit more than 1/8 and 10 and 3/4. Okay, so we've cut that. I'll set that aside for a minute. And now we need a 10 3/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So we're going to take this, and we need 2 of these as well. So yeah, will be plenty. Let's well, make sure it's nice and even up here. Right. Okie dokie. Okay, so 10 3/4. Okay, and then 5 1/2. So we got the 10 3/4, and it needs to be 5 1/2. 3/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, dokie. All right. Okay, so now you have that. Okay. So if you were going to do the fusible fleece, which I'm not going to do tonight, but you would cut the fusible fleece 15 1/2 by 10 1/4 tall, 15 1/2 inches across by 10 1/4 tall, and you would iron it on dot side down. But I'm not doing that today. Okay, so we're going to go over here and we're going to sew this up. These smaller pieces that we cut are going to be your inside pockets. Okay, and you want to make sure that they're both, if you have a pattern that maybe you had cactuses and this side the cactuses were standing up straight, but on this one they were upside down, you would just flip it so that they matched. When you open the book, the inside flaps should match. Okay, and we're going to go over here and I'm going to iron a 1/4 inch seam. I'll show you in just a minute. I went over to the ironing board, and what I did was I folded this over once, about a 1/4 of an inch, it might be a little more. And then I folded it again and I ironed it. And now we're going to sew that down. Okay. Now this is the first time I've made this, so bear with me. I mean, learning how to do it and actually hands-on are 2 different things. So that's why we're doing this together. All right. Now we're going to sew down this. Going to back stitch to set it, and we're just going to sew right down through there. And this, with this project, I'm using a bright pink thread. You can use whatever you want. You want to match your fabric for sure. With this, it didn't really matter. It's crayon, so there's a lot of color to this. Coming to the end, we're going to back stitch. And again, by this point, you would have put the fusible fleece down on the bigger pieces, but with this one, I'll make another video where we use the fusible fleece when it comes in. It's not in yet, but I'll make another one because I enjoy this. Okay, so I've sewed this one. Now we're going to sew this one down. Okay, I still have my arm off from sewing book sleeves earlier. I guess I could put that back, couldn't I? Okay, oops. Get under there, you. Okay. And you notice I take my time. I don't need to be in a hurry when sewing this. If you take your time, you can make a straighter line. But anyway, I want to say hello. I hope everyone is doing well. I know we jumped right into this project, but I'm Shelly, and this is Crafty Fox Creations. I'm so glad you're here, and I am so happy with my new subscribers. I want to thank you, my new and old. Again, this channel is not that old, so most of you I would consider to be new. Okay, so there we go. We've got that. So we're going to move on to the next. So now what we have here, we get out the piece, the big piece, one of the big pieces. And we're going to take these here that we sewed. Okay, so we want the part that we have sewn to be in towards the, okay, and we're going to go ahead and pin this because we're going to sew it. We're going to sew both sides onto this, okay. All right, sew this down here. And again, we're going to go slow. Set the stitch with the back stitch, and we're just going to take it easy right down through here, trying to keep it as straight as we can possibly keep it. Now, I'm going to do another video doing this, and in the other video, I'm going to show you using the fusible fleece. Plus, I am going to add a closure with a button and some elastic to the elastic to hold a pencil. Okay, we're finishing up with the back stitch, and then we're going to take that out. We're going to sew the other one. Now this is a 1/4 inch seam allowance for these when we're sewing these on. Okay, all right, so we've sewn that one. Got to come over here, and we're going to put this one down, and we're going to go ahead and pin it. I'm trying to keep this simple for the simple fact that, like I said, this project is new to me as well as you. And I didn't want to complicate it too much with adding buttons and stuff like that. So we're just going to stick with, without the fleece and without the buttons, we're just making the cover. Okay. So we're going to sew this side. About 1/4 inch seam allowance. Always back stitch in the beginning and at the end to set your sewing so that it holds better. And like I said, take your time, go as slow as you need to. I remember when I first started grooming dogs, it was 15 years ago. I was learning how to groom, and the teacher, she could groom a dog in like an hour to an hour and a half. I struggled to get a dog done in 3 hours because I was taking my time. I was new to it. And again, it's just like anything. If you're new to this, then you want to take your time. It doesn't matter how long it takes. We're having fun. We're not interested in perfection. We just want things to come out nice. Okay, so now we have both of those sewn on. All right. We're going to move on. This is the other piece, the other big piece that we cut, the 16 and an 1/8 by 10. Okay. And this is the one we just got done sewing the side pieces on. All right. So we're going to keep everything closed and smoothed out as nicely as we can. We're going to take this piece and we're going to lay it pretty side down. Okay. And then we're going to pin it. Gotta pin it all the way around, okay? So let's pin this. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm kind of winging it. Again, this is the first time that I've made it. We're doing this together, so here we are. And pin that all the way around. I don't know. This one side looks bigger than the other side. We're going to see how this turns out. Again, I'm new at all this. I am learning. I read the instructions and I thought I would just do it on here with you instead of, so you guys can see in all my glory, my mistakes, and how badly I am at cutting stuff. All right, so now we have it all pinned. So now that we've got this pinned, we are going to sew all the way around the perimeter of this. The only thing is we're going to have to leave an opening on one end or the other so that we can pull it through. And I'm going to use this to mark it so that I don't forget that I need to stop sewing there. Okay, so I think I'll start at that area and I'll just sew all the way around. So here we go. We're going to use about a half an inch, quarter of an inch seam allowance. Quarter of an inch, I think. Quarter of an inch. So, okay. Back stitching. And then I'm going to go on down through here. We're just going to sew this up. Turn it. Keep on trucking. I'm sure this is not going to turn out perfect, but again, I'm sewing better than most people who did not sew today. So I look at everything as a learning experience, and you should too. You're way ahead of the person who's never picked up a needle and thread or a sewing machine. So here we are. We've got this. We can do this. I'm so excited. I've gotten pretty good at the book sleeves. I've been making some to take to craft fairs. So as I said, I was working on them before I started to do this video. And that's why I have this pink thread in. But to be quite honest with you, like I said, this is crayons. So I don't care that there's pink thread in here. If it shows up, it just matches with the crayons, in my opinion. I mean, you do you. I mean, if it looks good to you, do it. It's your world, that's what I say. And it is your project. And when you mess up, you learn. I sat down to do a video last night for you guys, and nothing went as planned. It seemed like a struggle. I struggled and I struggled, and I just couldn't get anything right. And I could have gotten frustrated. I was tempted to get frustrated, to be quite honest. And I turned it around and I said to myself, this is a learning experience. Um, Sometimes you don't know what you're learning, but every struggle brings forth some sort of lesson. And that's kind of how I see it. Okay, so we're at the opening where I'm going to pull it through. So let's cut these threads. We're going to go around and cut any threads. We're going to take these needles out. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so if you don't mind. Help a small channel out. Subscribe, and if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button. I know I'm guilty of it. I watch videos and I don't hit the like button. And a lot of times it's because I'm watching it on TV, on my TV, and I don't know how to get to the like button from there. I've figured it out, but it's still kind of a pain in my opinion. Okay, so this is all sewn up. We're going to trim off any, I think I might have said that, trim off any excess strings that we can find. Sure, there's some strings here. Anytime you're using this kind, I mean, you could always use pinking shears. Pinking shears to cut the fabric. That will keep down the fraying. Okay, now that this is sewn up, we are going to pull this through the hole that I left. Now you want to do this gently because you don't want to rip any seams. So we're going to work this through. Again, I hope everybody's well. We've been dealing with some health issues in my family. My sister's granddaughter, so I guess that would be my niece. She is just a little one. She's just a baby, and she's in the hospital right now. They're trying to figure out what exactly is wrong with her. So say a little prayer for her. Pray that everything is okay and works out. All right, so we're just going to keep pushing this through. Push it through, push it through. Okay. Okie dokie. So I'm not sure what okay, so this is what we got going on here. We need to push the corners out. Okay, I'm going to take my pencil here and just push these corners out. It's my little marker. Oh, I love this. I do. This is so pretty. All right, we want to make them corners go out as much as we can. I think I need something a little more pointy maybe to get them corners out. We want to make them, take them out as much as we can. We want to be careful though because we don't want to poke through the fabric, but we want to get those corners nice and pushed out. Oh, there we go. That looks good there. Can you see what I'm doing? Again, be real careful. We do not want to make a hole. But anyway, come on now. All right, so this is what we've got. Okay, we have. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over there and I'm going to iron it out because we're going to sew around the outside. So let's iron this. See. All right, so I've ironed it out. This is what we've got. We've got 2 pockets. All right, now you can leave it this way. You don't have to sew a perimeter around there, but we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to sew all the way around. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Well, probably about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. We're going to go around it. All right. So I'll be back when I'm done and I'll show you. Okay, guys, I have sewn all the way around. You can see the stitching. I don't know if you can see it all the way around. I'm going to cut this, cut any strings, and now is the time to find out if I cut this properly. Now, as with anything, practice makes perfect. Again, this is the first time that I've made this. I really like it. It was pretty simple to make. Next time, I want to include some elastic for a pencil or a pen and an elastic closure. But this time, I just wanted to make it simple and easy to follow. So here it is. Is it going to work? Is my notebook going to fit? Okay. Yeah, there it goes. It's going in. It's pretty snug. It's pretty snug. So that means the next time I might need to make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, there it is. It fits. This is it. You open it up. This can be used as a pocket. What do you think? Now, this is fabric, so what's really great about this is you can take it off and use it on another composition book. You know, I had one thought, and let me know what your thoughts are. This is cotton, so I'm thinking, you know, since it's removable, people are going to want to wash it. And that makes me think that maybe we should pre-wash this so that it's already shrunk. That way it doesn't shrink if they want to take it off and wash it. It's just a thought. Let me know what you think about that. Also, you can put iron-ons on this, as I showed you before with the other one that I did. So this is 2 ways to cover composition books. I have another way, and it's going to be paper craft. I'll show you that in another video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really like this. I'm going to be making these and selling them at craft fairs as well this summer and fall. But I learned something new and I brought you along with me. Again, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Leave a comment. Have a great night.